What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Jake and this is Sensible Capital, and today I'm reacting to millennial money. I bought a $750K house at age 23. For those of you who don't already know, I've worked in finance my entire professional career and as a licensed investment advisor for the vast majority of that time. So let's get into it.
My name is Sharon Kim, and when I was 23 years old, I was able to purchase my first home in the suburbs of New York City for $750,000.
Nice looking place. I would like to issue a sincere apology to everyone watching this video. I thought we were watching millennial money. We're watching Gen Z money. I stand corrected.
I decided to switch careers into tech because I wanted to focus more on high income skills, so I'd have more confidence to support myself to pay off any student loans post-college.
What she did there is really smart. She initially was going to school for fashion, realized that she probably wasn't going to make what she wanted to in that sort of field, and so she made the change to tech from that point. The thing is, you could still do fashion as a hobby. People think that you have to just choose one route or another and then you're stuck in that. But if you choose to get a degree in something that's going to probably earn a bit more, something like finance, engineering, tech, medicine, you have the ability to earn a substantial amount more money, which you can then use to fund something that you really enjoy, like fashion. So what she did there is probably a very smart move in the long term. Okay, so she bought it with her brother and his wife.
Purchasing a home was always a long-term goal, but I didn't really think it was possible with all the student loans that I had and still figuring out my career. My brother suggested that maybe we can live together post-college with him and his wife, and during that time save on rent to combine finances and buy one together.
Okay, so there's our answer as to how she was able to afford a $750K house at 23. She bought it with her brother and his wife. With wages being outpaced by inflation and the cost of housing becoming so much higher, a lot of people are finding themselves priced out in these markets and in a position where, if you want to be able to afford a house, you're probably going to have to partner with someone. And I think that in the future, we're going to see a lot more situations like this where people are partnering with family and friends and a lot of people outside of just a spouse or the traditional sort of setup that you'd see.
Growing up, finances were definitely a challenge within my family. My parents immigrated from South Korea before I was born, and I think trying to build a better life for themselves as well as my siblings, there was definitely a lot of financial challenges. My parents taught me that we should be really intentional with how we spend our money. Intentionality of if I need this purchase has stuck with me till this day. So in regards to my monthly budget, the biggest expense would probably be my mortgage. I currently pay $2,500 a month. And afterwards, although I try to eat the most at home, I like to try out new cocktail bars or new restaurants.
The general rule of thumb when we're talking about your mortgage is that if we're looking at net income, which I'm assuming, of course, this figure is her net income for this month, you don't want it to exceed 25% of that amount. Obviously, $2,876 is a lot more than 25% of $5,171. The thing is that nowadays, housing is so ridiculously expensive in a lot of these markets that you're not going to be able to find people who meet these rules of thumb, whether it's 25% of your net income or 28 or 30% of your gross. You point me to someone who's meeting that rule. There's going to be a lot fewer people than you think. There are a lot of people who are spending huge percentages of their income on their housing. The next thing that's really standing out to me is the home upgrades, $533 a month, paint, baseboards, and shower head. It's going to be really heavily front loaded. She's not going to always be spending $533 a month to upgrade the house. These are just smaller upgrades that they're probably doing since they've owned the home less than a year, things you realize you still want to make changes to or improve. And so as more time passes, that's going to represent more funds that she can allocate to other portions of the budget. She's spending a very reasonable amount on food. Retirement savings of $216. That is a little low, but considering her age and the current situation that she's in, it's not at all unexpected. The main thing I'd be curious to see is how she's actually investing in her retirement, what sort of account she has, whether it's an employer plan, an IRA, how that's structured. That would be interesting to see. And hopefully, as more time passes, she can allocate more from the home upgrades to that retirement investment portion. That would be great and something I'm sure she's already planning on doing. As far as the rest goes, subscriptions and memberships, we're looking at gym, Spotify, Amazon Prime, Apple Cloud, pretty standard there. Phone bill looks reasonable. Insurance, $41 for medical, dental, and vision. Very reasonable amount she's spending on health insurance. I'm assuming she probably has a high deductible plan, and that would explain that. Splits everything evenly.
There's currently a spreadsheet that we keep track of, and any expenses, say at BJ's or Costco that we go to, it would be tracked in a spreadsheet with the receipt and the amount split in 3.
A lot of people would see having a spreadsheet for that as kind of excessive. I absolutely disagree. I think that this is a great idea on her part, and it just shows that they did plan ahead before they got into the situation together.
Identifying as Christian, my religion is very important to me, and I think dedicating a portion of my income towards my faith is a major factor and a way to give thanks for all the blessings and definitely even the house I was able to purchase. So when it came to purchasing a home, it was definitely very overwhelming, as it would be our first one. I think the most important factor is knowing around what budget that we wanted to purchase our home within. So first getting an idea of the amount of savings or how much we wanted to put down, and then from that kind of working backwards of the location of where we wanted to live. In the beginning, when it came to the budget, I think it was really about what we were both comfortable with. We didn't want to approach it as we're going to do everything 50% you versus 50% him if, say, one was making more income than the other, because this is going to be a family house. We were both willing to pull out of all of our investments, which is what happened.
When you're buying a house with someone else, it is absolutely imperative that everyone's on the same page, that before you even start looking or getting into everything else, you understand how the finances are going to work, both for the actual home purchase itself and everything that you're buying after the fact, whether that's for renovations or just groceries. You need to know what this whole situation is going to look like from start to finish. You need to have exit plans. You need to know what's going to happen if someone decides that they no longer want to own the house and they want to move. What are you going to do in that situation? It sounds like she and her brother had those important, honest conversations to lay everything out and say, hey, this is how it's going to work and this is what I feel is fair, so that you don't run into tough situations later on. Something else you briefly mentioned there was talking about selling investments to be able to buy the house. It's really important also to think about where's the money going to come from for the down payment on the house, whether it's cash that you've been setting aside over years or it's investments that you have in a taxable brokerage account or retirement account. Everything is going to have its own implications tied to it. You need to think about that before you just go and sell hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of stock in a taxable brokerage account and incur tax bills that you weren't planning on. You need to think strategically, where can I put this money and where can I pull money from where it's going to make the most sense for me and put me in the strongest financial position now and in the future.
I started my YouTube channel in 2018 and I'm very passionate about education. The first video I made was about getting into Parsons. I really want to knowledge share since I wasn't able to attend private art school classes back then. Being a content creator, income definitely fluctuates, but I'm super thankful to have been able to leverage best I can what I had at the time. And my best year in social media, I made close to $120,000 in 2022. The way we split it is as I'm single and my brother is married, he is covering for him and his wife's portion. So I own about 30% and he owns 70% of the home as of now.
Put down around 10%.
Something we didn't expect when trying to purchase our home is just how steep the competition was. I remember there was one home we were looking at that had over 100 visitors in the span of 2 hours for an open house. And when we tried to put in our first offer, at the time it's 3.5% down, that's what we were hearing. We found out the next day that it was sold for over asking price by another buyer fully in cash. So we did not expect how expensive or how steep the competition would be.
A lot of people are going to learn through firsthand experience that their 3.5% down FHA mortgage is not necessarily a guarantee, even at full asking price, that they're going to get the property they want, especially if you're competing against cash offers and higher down payments.
We purchased this home in early 2024, and from the date of signing and officially making the house ours to the time we wanted to move in, we had 10 weeks or so. And during that time, we had to get everything done in terms of ordering the floors, knowing what paint colors, the samples for flooring. We did about 80% of the renovations on our own. The only things we outsourced were the things we absolutely did not know how to do on our own. Putting in the countertops, installing the cabinets, that was something we did hire out for a contractor. But in terms of sanding the walls, painting the flooring, doing the baseboards, the staircases, that was mostly done between me and my brother and sister-in-law.
A lot of people are really so quick to just outsource every little thing when a lot of stuff you could do yourself and save a lot of money. The thing about renovations, though, is that everyone just assumes because you do a renovation, because you put money into your house, that you're going to get that money back, that it's going to add value to the home. And that's absolutely not guaranteed. Not all renovations are created equally. And you need to understand that putting a disco ball in the living room or an above ground hot tub in the backyard is not necessarily going to produce the same yield as doing a tasteful kitchen or bathroom remodel.
I think in terms of, say, splitting the home or the living arrangements, we ultimately kept each other in mind of what we thought was fair. For example, they understand that because I have social media, I may need a more private space. They decided to give me 2 bedrooms on top, which one I convert into my office.
2 or 3 bedrooms.
But in terms of disagreements, I think it was more learning how to communicate and live with each other. Although we had a bit of a rough patch in terms of what we'd expect from the other person, we really did work through that through a couple conversations, and now we just learned to be a lot more understanding of each other.
That's a good point that she brings up, is that they ran into a rough patch already. It's been less than a year. Just because an arrangement is working out now doesn't mean that it will be a year from now, 3 years, 5 years, or 30 years. It's really important that you understand what you're getting yourself into, and it seems like she did, and you have open and honest conversations with people, especially if you're going to get into potentially a 30-year long arrangement with these people. Even if they're friends, even if they're family, everyone's got to be on the same page. And it sounds like they did a pretty good job of doing that.
The first time we showed our parents the house, it definitely felt like a surreal experience. This was something we've been planning or felt like a dream for multiple years since first moving to America. I would love to purchase another home with my family again. There are talks with our other brother who's currently not living with us, and there's conversations of us all potentially teaming up together to purchase a sibling home for more investment reasons. I did not ever imagine that I would be living with my brother, with his wife, purchasing a home post-college. I'm just thankful that I happen to be living with family and people that I trust.
She's off to a great start. I hope that for her sake, everything continues to work out really well. The thing is, of course, whenever you're involving other people in a transaction like buying a home or anything business related, you're introducing another element of risk. And of course, if things go south or they don't work out, then not only is the home at stake, but your relationship is potentially at stake as well. She seems like she really has her things together. I'm sure she's planned all of this out, all the contingencies, things like, hey, what if her brother and his wife decide to have a baby? How is that going to impact them? She's probably thought of that. So I'm sure she's going to do well. If you do something like this on your own, which again, this is going to become probably more and more common in the future, you need to really understand what you're getting into and trust the people that you're going to work with, especially if they're family and friends, because you don't want to ruin those relationships over something like this. I wish her the best of luck. Guys, make sure to show Sharon some support. I'll put a link to her channel down in the description below. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And always remember to be sensible.